Alright guys, here's a quick guide on how to go about recording your games on the PS4. So first things first, the PS4 has a built-in DVR that is constantly recording, whether you have any of these settings changed or not. So it doesn't cost any extra space, doesn't cost any extra compute or other kind of or your GPU or anything like that. It's just constantly doing it anyway. So what we're doing basically is giving it some extra parameters and telling it when to save it off so it doesn't get overwritten, right? It's like a dash cam, it's constantly recording. And it recycles all the old stuff until you have it saved off. The built-in DVR won't record if the app tells it not to. So things like movie players, certain scenes in a game, or games that have your PSVR and your standard display as a separate display, like your TV is one thing, your DVR shows, your PSVR shows something else. It'll choose what quality record, which of the displays to record. So it has control over those kind of things. So you can't do anything about those unless you use an external DVR like what I'm using right now to make this guide. In general, for PSVR, when you record, it will actually only record things in 720p at 30 frames per second, as opposed to whatever the heck the resolution is inside your goggles at between 60 to 120 frames per second. I think it's like maybe 90, 100 frames per second. So only do 720p 30 at max if the game allows it to record at all. Externally, like if you use an external DVR, it'll do 1080p 60 frames per second, which is what you're seeing right now. So first things first. Second things first then. Let's get into settings. So you can get to your share settings two ways. One, your traditional settings, and then you go down to sharing and broadcast. Right, you see these things here. Or from most screens, whether it's in game or in a guide, if you hold down the share button, you'll have sharing and broadcast settings is the same thing, right? Alright, there are three things we want to change here from the defaults. The first one is how you go about invoking the share menu, right, in-game or otherwise. You want to take it off of standard and go to easy screenshots. What that does is it makes it to where when you just tap on a share button, it'll take a snapshot, and if you hold it down, it'll bring up the menu, or tap it twice and it'll stop the clip. So that way, most of the time when you're just starting a stop and taking a screenshot, you don't have to even bring up the menu at all, right? Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing you want to do is change video clip settings. Again, the dimensions, this is the maximum that it'll record at. Again, in PSVR it'll be 720p. Some of the games will be whatever. Set it to the max and you'll get at least the max. The length of the video clip, I think by default is 15 minutes or 1 minute or something less. But for Farpoint, you want to choose at least 30 or 60 minutes. So that way, if you had a good match or a horrible match or a hilarious match, at the end of the match, when you choose to stop recording and save it off, 30 minutes ought to cover, 3 rounds, right? If it goes that far. 60 minutes, obviously, for more than that. So change that to 30 minutes or 60 minutes. The last thing you want to change is audio sharing settings. Before I get into these, I'll chat with any of you guys offline about it, but your PlayStation 4 actually has a pretty complicated set of audio, the way it routes audio, right? If you think about it, for input devices, you can have your PlayStation, your DS4 controller has a microphone, your stinking camera has a microphone, and of course your VR goggles has a microphone. And you can plug in USB you have a lot of, and then of course you have the internal game audio, all of these things, and of course you have the other parties that you're playing online with, their audio. So it determines what input goes to and is mixed and goes to where based on a lot of things. Relevant to this screen, one of the things is whether or not the other person gives you the ability to record their audio. So sharing party audio, this is so that the other person on the other end can record your audio. Otherwise, what you're going to hear on if this is checked. By the way, check all of these things. Otherwise, what will happen is that when you record, all you're going to hear is the gameplay and your own voice and not the other person. So this gives permission for someone else to record your voice. And so you want your opponent to at least have it enabled so that way you can hear all of the party chats. Otherwise, it's not as fun to watch. But it's optional, but you know, if you're playing PvP in Farpoint, I recommend you turn all of these settings on. So let's give it a go in an actual game. So let's go ahead and launch a flat game just to make it easier to explain, or a demo. Remember, your DVR is recording all the time except for when the PlayStation doesn't allow it to. So what is it not allowed to record? Movies, right? Apps that play videos, have DRM, or this screen, right? You can't record this unless you have an external DVR. So let's just say you've now played this game a little bit, and alright, this is really cool. I'm going to go ahead and save these settings on. So now, hold down the share button. Alright, this pops up, and notice that this now appears. So you do save video clip, and what it's going to do is it's going to record the last, for me anyways, the last 30 minutes of video clip for things it allows. So I'm going to go back to, go out, come to the capture gallery, and you'll see that this one that we just recorded is right here. I'm going to put the information up. What is it not allowed to? So you can see. These are things we did just a little while ago. You can fast forward. Alright. So now I've decided that I want to keep that clip. So there are a couple ways you can do that. So one, get it off the PlayStation. You can stick a thumb drive in your one of your available USB slots and copy it to the USB thumb drive. You'll save it as an MPEG 4 file with H.264 codec, which in general is playable and editable by almost every modern device. You can edit in Share Factory to add some effects and trim it and whatnot, right? Has all sorts of metadata. So now, what if you want to skip all of that and just upload it directly to YouTube? Again, hold down the share button, and I'm going to choose either this video clip or another one, right? The very first time you go through here, it'll ask for account information, but here I only have YouTube selected. I'm going to choose YouTube, and you can see how it has some of the metadata filled in already for you. This is no different than if you upload a YouTube video directly from your computer or your smart device. One extra thing it has is this matter of tagging people when you're on PSN. So, right, so that's actually pretty nice. Otherwise, it's the same stuff that you would have if you upload directly from a computer or a mobile device. Alright, now I'm going to come back in here and do some more gameplay. Alright, now we run around, and now I want to record, or rather save off, the clip just like we did before. Hold down the share button. I'm going to choose Save Video Clip. Now, before we go check it out, what do you think it's going to record? It's going to record the last 17 seconds. Because, let's just go and play this.
Do some more gameplay.
Because this is the last 60 minutes, up to the last 60 minutes,
and now I want
from the end of the last time that we recorded or saved off the recording. So it doesn't overlap, right? So what you can do is take all those video clips if you want on a computer or on here and stitch it together and have a full video clip, and it'll look like it's just one continuous one. So at the end of a Farpoint match, if you do every match and you stitch them together, you'll have kind of your play session, right? Otherwise, I think that's about it. You know, if you have any questions, PSN message me or hit me up on one of the videos on YouTube. I don't care if you subscribe or not because I'm not getting paid for this. So hit me up if you have any questions. Hope this helps. And if you have any questions about the external DVR, hit me up. I'm using the AverMedia Live Gamer Pro 2. It's not that much. You can get it off of Amazon.